For years now, strikes by online taxi drivers have been rather frequent. At the heart of the perennial strikes is the demand for higher pay from the online hailing app companies. It is the same issue at the heart of this latest strike. But this time, it is a bit different. A growing number of passengers have complained over cases of harassment by digital cab drivers demanding payment of higher fares across a number of ride-hailing platforms. Now, this combined with a notice issued by the Organization of Online Drivers stating that passengers will not be charged higher fees than the rates listed by platforms such as Uber, Bolt and Faras. And as our reporter Jasmine Wambui now tells us, the cab drivers are saying that while they will continue to source the clients on the ride-hailing apps, the prices of these services will be at their own discretion.
Over the last few days, passengers have taken to the internet to highlight illegal fare increases lumped on them by online cab drivers in and around Nairobi. A food vendor calls the situation crazy, saying, "Sometime this week my fare was 1,100 and the guy wanted 1,700. This is not an isolated incident. Just yesterday, this ex-user claims to have been assaulted by a driver who had locked her inside the car for failure to add an extra 300 shillings.
You meet another person who will not explain to you in a polite manner. That's why I'm there.
And in this video recorded by a passenger, the driver can be heard agitating for higher payment.
Let's go. We are going to pay you the money you're asking for, but this is not the right approach.
Yeah. In the wake of this crisis, we met a number of drivers to ascertain these claims and to find out why they had resorted to the illegal fare hikes. Harrison Munala is a veteran in the business. He has been driving for about 9 years. He says he left a lucrative job to join Uber when the app first entered the country.
Na wakati Uber ilikuja Kenya, my sister anafanya kazi Dubai, anaitwa Irene. Nikamwambia my sister anisaidie tuchukue loan, tuchukue gari tuingie kwa Uber. Because everyone was happy about Uber. Tukachukua Toyota Passo. Kaingiza gari kwa hii biashara ya Uber.
He says the beginning was very rosy. The rates were good and the drivers happy.
Tulikuwa tunakuja na maji, hii bottle water tunawekea client. Mimi nilikuwa ngana gari yangu, napea client maji ya Dasan. Na nilikuwa na hotspot akiingia na muongelesha kizungu hata kama tujui kizungu. Mwambia, do you need Wi-Fi?
But those days are long gone. Harrison says ride-hailing apps have been changing their terms day in, day out, giving drivers little to no room for negotiation.
Uko Masai Mara, una end trip. Kabla ukienda online inakuambia sign, kwanza sema yes, agree to the new contract. Na ni kitu mrefu, hata saa hiyo unataka kutoka Masai Mara labda ni usiku. So inabidi tu useme yes, kwa sababu unatafuta kazi ya kutoka kule.
Much worse, he says, is a massive driver onboarding drive that the ride-hailing apps have undertaken in recent years. He says this has meant fewer trips for each driver, translating into low earnings, if any.
Kuna dereva nikikwambia ukweli, aliamka asubuhi mpaka saa hajapata trip. Na huyo dereva ni mimi. Since morning, and I can show you my applications. Hakuna trip ambayo nimebeba tangia asubuhi.
And this is probably why Stephen Donga, another driver in Nairobi, has shifted to the new but illegal pricing system.
Hapo inalipisha bei ya competition. Utapata inalipisha 100, 200, 130, 70. So ukiona hiyo 130 ama 70 haina faida yoyote.
He says the prices per kilometer on the ride-hailing apps have gone down despite the exponential jump in fuel prices and the overall cost of living.
Just imagine since 2016, Uber ikilipisha 60 per kilometer na saa hii inarudi mpaka 27. Hata kutoka hiyo wakati choya kanju ilikuwa inalipishwa 5 bob, saa hii ni 20 bob.
When we asked why they still wanted to get clients through the app but charge on their own terms, Stephen had this to say.
Wakinipea client, mimi nawalipa, si ati siwalipi.
And it appears research from Oxford University in partnership with the German development agency GIZ also highlights the challenges of those working in the digital space. Caroline Omware, a senior researcher at Kala who participated in the Fair Work project under the two organizations, says that digital work is poorly regulated in Kenya, resulting in poor work conditions.
So the platforms are taking advantage of the fact that the government is not really trying to enforce anything in regards to people working in the digital platforms. So out of the 12 platforms that we rated in 2023, none of the platforms reached the threshold of paying their workers what we call the minimum wage in Kenya, as well as now the much higher threshold, which is a livable wage.
But the rising cost of living is also affecting passengers. Masi Mweni, a frequent cab user who recently fell victim to the illegal fees, says that while drivers are rightfully agitated, they ought to seek the proper resolution channels.
We all understand that the cost of living is high, and the drivers need to know that the client is not the enemy. The enemy is the app.
Something that the drivers seem to acknowledge.
When it's raining, we have something they call surge. The prices may go up to 2 times, 3 times, and the customers still pay. And what does that tell you? The problem is not the customer. The problem is the app. Whatever is shown on the app, the customer is ready to pay.
Uber, in a statement, has responded to the development, saying requesting additional payment over and above what is displayed on the app goes against our community guidelines, and we encourage riders to report such instances in the app for further investigation. On its part, Bolt responded to Citizen TV, saying that it is working to find a solution, but continues to discourage drivers from increasing fares off the app until this industry matter is resolved.
Ya nini kukuwa na gari ambayo inaingia kwa parking na kwa jirani kunanuka kitunguu, kunanuka nyama na kwa kwezi nuka nyama? Does not make sense. Does not make sense.
Whenever you pick your phone to request for that cab and you see 70 shillings, 100 shillings, please sit down to reconsider, to ask yourself, if I give this driver 70 shillings, is he going to be able to cater for the fuel, cater for the tire and wear, cater for his upkeeps?
At the risk of sounding offensive, digital taxi drivers are now telling Kenyans that they will either pay up or go back to the use of matatus. They're saying the cost of living has not just gone up for passengers, but has also gone up for the drivers. Jasmine Wambui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.